SmackDown have come and gone.
God.
Let's see who's up.
Yes! Yes!
And who's down.
No! No!
In this week's Busted Open WWE Power Rankings. WWE Power Rankings.
For the umpteenth week in a row, Brock Lesnar is not on my top 5 WWE Power Rankings. Why? Because we haven't seen Brock Lesnar defend his Universal title. So you will not be hearing the name Brock Lesnar in the next 5 Power Rankings. By the way, I will throw this name out there because Alex Metz, our producer, thought that this man should be number 1. But he's an honorable mention this week, and that is Finn Balor. Finn Balor beats Kevin Owens on Monday Night Raw, but it's by disqualification, bully. So to me, it doesn't gain a lot of stock. Finn Balor is a name that you will not hear in the WWE Power Rankings, but let me give you my top 5. At number 5, somebody who we saw last night not only win, but win in a handicap match, and that is Asuka, who's working her way back up that ladder, and who knows, may be a future champion again. But at number 5, I have Asuka. At number 4, speaking of some of the top women's wrestlers, I have your Raw Women's Champion, Nia Jax, beats Natalya on Monday Night Raw, waiting for Ronda Rousey at Money in the Bank. I'm still a big Nia fan, and I hope she defends her title at Money in the Bank. If she does that, she's going up these power rankings. But for right now, she is number 4. At number 3, this is a name you heard last week, and is climbing up that ladder again, and that is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, who, by the way, beat, Charlotte last night. Not only beat Charlotte, but has Charlotte tap out. Becky Lynch is number 3 on my WWE Power Rankings. Now, number 1 and number 2. This was a fight that I was having internally. Who should be number 1? Who should be number 2? This is going to be another controversial decision, and it's a last-second decision made by me. But at number 2, I have Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, who beat Bobby Roode on Monday Night Raw, as we thought. A little bit of enhancement match, if you ask me. He breaks a ladder in the process. I mean, there's nobody stronger and nobody hotter than Braun Strowman. And at number 1, for the first time in my WWE Power Rankings, how about this? Elias! I have number 1. He is hot right now. He starts Monday Night Raw. Elias, with a big pin over your Intercontinental Champion, Seth Rollins. Though it wasn't a tag match, he still gets the pin on Seth Rollins. Number 1, I have the man they call Elias.
Ugh.
Let me recap before you get to have your take on this, bully. At number 5, I have Asuka. At number 4, Nia Jax, your Raw Women's Champion. At number 3, the talented and beautiful Becky Lynch. At number 2, Braun Strowman. And at 1, we walk with Elias.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Go ahead, bully.
Let's destroy your rankings.
How can you
again.
destroy it? This is perfection. Top 5 power rankings.
Can you let me finish?
Go ahead.
All right. When I finish, we're going to leave this up to the nation because you gave your power rankings, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with your power rankings, and I'm going to tell you why this week they're so completely off. Okay?
Go ahead.
You have Elias at number 1.
Sure do.
Because he pinned the Intercontinental Champion in a tag team match.
Sure did. Yes.
You have Braun Strowman because he beat Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode.
Okay. And now you have Becky at 3 because she tapped out Charlotte.
She sure did do that. Yes.
Out of those 3, which do you truly believe is the bigger win?
The bigger win of those 3 would be Becky Lynch.
That is who number 1 should be.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Becky Lynch tapping out Charlotte is by far a bigger win. Elias won in a tag match. Thus, he needed help to win. Braun beat Bobby. I'm sorry, but Bobby's not exactly up there on the card right now.
Ooh,
you even used the
Bobby
word
Roode.
squash. Becky coming back out of nowhere. She's been in obscurity lately.
True.
Tapping out Charlotte is the biggest win of the week in those power rankings. My power ranking would be Becky 1, Elias 2, Braun maybe 3, and then Nia and Asuka.
All right, so here you go. So the names that I put on my top 5 power rankings are the same names that you're putting on your top 5 power rankings.
No. I don't make my power rankings. I don't make a power ranking.
But you just agreed with me on the top 5. The top 5 that I threw out. First of all,
I'm taking your top 5 and rearranging them because they don't make sense.
All right, wait. So let's backtrack here for just a second. All right, Bully, because you said that I'm going to destroy my power rankings are embarrassing. They're so far off. Elias, I had at 1. You have Elias at 2. So how bad are my power rankings? How completely off are my power rankings when I had Elias at 1 and you're putting Elias at 2?
It's because you had Becky at 3.
Yes, I have Becky at 3.
How could you put Becky at 3 if she tapped Charlotte?
She did, and
she didn't. She tapped Charlotte. She made a former women's world heavyweight champion, multi-time champion. That is a bigger one-on-one victory than Elias pinning Seth.
You have to look at it in this way. You're right. The Becky Lynch win is extremely significant. That's why she's on the power rankings. That's why she went from obscurity to number 3 in the WWE LaGreca power rankings. That's extremely significant. She went from nowhere to somewhere. But Elias has slowly been building week in and week out. Building. Elias started Monday Night Raw on Monday. Started the show. That, to me, is more significant than being in the main event. Starting Monday Night Raw is as significant a place as you could possibly be. And Elias was in that position. Plus, he didn't pin a former champion. He pinned the Intercontinental Champion. Since Brock Lesnar had to take a nap during Monday Night Raw on Monday and wasn't on the show and has not defended his title since the Greatest Royal Rumble, that Intercontinental Championship is everything. And the fact that Elias pinned Seth Rollins, to me, he gets the number 1 spot. Without a doubt. Because you know why? Because Elias is going to be a future world champion. Becky Lynch is just going to go back to the back. That's where she belongs, and that's where she's going to be. But she had a significant win. She's number 3.
You're wrong.
No, I'm right. This is an example, Bully, of I'm right.
No.
Let me finish.
You're completely wrong.
No. This is where, all right, you threw it out there, and as I'm talking, you realize that I'm right. But instead of coming on and saying, you know what, Dave, I'm wrong, you're right, you don't want to do that. So instead of doing that, you're going totally against what I just said. But deep down in your heart, you know I'm right. Deep down in the nation's heart, they know I'm right. When it comes to this power rankings, there is no way I could put Becky Lynch above Elias. I can't do it. By the way, that Becky Lynch Charlotte match was in the middle of the card. It didn't start the show. It didn't end the show. They stuck it in the middle. Why? Because Charlotte right now is a former champion. She's not the current champion. She's a former champion. Elias pinned the current Intercontinental Champion. There is no way that anybody could put Becky Lynch above Elias this week. Can't happen. Won't happen. And it doesn't happen. You know I'm right. The nation knows I'm right. That's why my list is the one that you should go by.
You're such a typical minority person. You do the loudest yelling and screaming, and yelling and screaming doesn't make you right. So, Alex, can we please get people on the phone and fast track them to see who they agree with? Because I'm thoroughly convinced that the nation would believe, based on very, very simple logic and fact, that Becky Lynch tapping out Charlotte is a bigger win than Elias beating Seth in a tag match. If you would have said Elias beat Seth in a non-title match straight up, then I would agree with you. Not in a tag match. Becky straight up is a much bigger win.
You know what? You could argue that. We can have an argument about that, but you got to look at the whole scenario, where Elias is going, the momentum that he's building, where he was on Monday Night Raw. This match was in the middle of the show last night. And by the way, again, Charlotte is a former champion. Former champion. Your current champion is Carmella. Now, if Becky Lynch would have beat Carmella in a non-title match or in a tag match and made Carmella tapped out, you know what? That might have been enough to make her number one. But Charlotte is a former champion, not your current champion. I guarantee you we're going to get a whole bunch of calls from the Busted Open Nation agreeing with you, Bully, because it's Bully. If it was reversed, and you would be saying what I'm saying, and I would be saying what you're saying, they would still agree with you. They're agreeing with you because you're a WWE Hall of Famer. They're not using common sense, and they're not using logic. If you use common sense and you use logic, there's no way that they would agree with you on your power rankings. They would agree with me.
Listen, by now the nation knows that I'm not the kind of guy that likes smoke blown up my ass. Okay? I hate that. So I know that they know that there's no reason to agree with me just for the sake of agreeing with me. They're going to agree with me if I'm right. Your list is, I understand why you did it, but it's off for very obvious reasons. You can't put a singles victory below a tag team victory.
Yes, you can when you're pinning a champion, and one is a former champion and one's a current champion. That's the most significant championship right now on Monday Night Raw.
Becky's win over Charlotte is much bigger than Elias's win over Seth this week.
You can make that argument, but you have to look at the whole spectrum of everything that's going on.
Dave,
Becky Lynch was nowhere. Becky Lynch was nowhere.
Exactly.
So she's just going to jump from, 252 to 1?
That's the point.
She's not jumping from 252
That's
to 1.
That's why it
one
makes
win
it
over
a
non-champion
bigger win.
goes you from 252 to 1. She was at 252, and now she's jumping to number 1. That doesn't happen. Logically, that doesn't happen.
This is why you're yelling and screaming now, because my logic is now starting to get under your skin.
No,
you're
it's
right.
Not. You're wrong.
She was so far down the list, and now she taps out Charlotte. That's why she's number 1 for the week, and Elias should be number 2. It's very simple, Dave. You don't have to yell and scream.
No, I'm going to yell and scream,
Talk
Mr.
like
Hall
an
of
adult.
Famer. Mr. Hall of Famer, you're wrong, Mr. Hall of Famer. I'm right and you're wrong. Admit it. Just admit it. Just say, you know what, Dave? Just say it. I mean, one time. Just say, Dave, you know what? After hearing what you said, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. You're right and I'm wrong.
Dave, me being in the Hall of Fame has nothing to do with me being right and you being wrong.
You know what? I'm going to take phone calls from the nation and see what they say. And just so you know, nation, all right, Bully Ray may be a WWE Hall of Famer, but I'm an IWF Hall of Famer. So I'm a Hall of Famer too, damn it. Mister, everybody wants to take Bully's side. Oh, it's Bully this and Bully that. Wait,
listen.
If Bully had the same opinion as me, you would agree with them.
Listen, even if everybody...
Reputation means nothing in an argument. Reputation means nothing in this argument.
Even if everybody who called in agreed with you, I would still disagree with you because I stick to my guns.
Well, I'm going to take these phone calls, and I guarantee you they're going to take your side.
Whatever.
Oh, I'm going to take Bully's side. Bully.
Why can't we just have a discussion?
So great.
Why can't we just... Now you sound jealous. Now you sound like other hosts we used to have on this show.
844-796-7874. Are you ready to get the take from the Busted Open Nation? Can't wait to hear what they have to say. Let's go to Scott in Virginia. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, Dave, it's nothing against you.
Of course. Here we go.
No, listen. It's not that I'm agreeing with Bully. What you guys just said. Becky is further
Elias started Monday Night Raw. He started the show. How did Raw start? With Elias in the middle of the ring. Oh, and how did it end? He beat the Intercontinental Champion. He pinned him. The Intercontinental Champion, which is the championship that represents Raw, because Brock Lesnar is never on the show. So when you think championship gold, you think of Seth Rollins.
I give you that. But it's still, he's higher up the card on the men's roster than Becky is on the women's roster.
Yes.
Becky tapping Charlotte is a much bigger win than Elias, who's higher up on the men's card, does than him beating Seth.
Okay, but it's called power ranking, Scott. How do you go from 252 to number one? One match against the non-champion is going to get you from 252 to number one? Becky Lynch was 252. She was 252. And now she's number one based on one match against a non-champion? And Elias starts Monday Night Raw and pins the Intercontinental Champion? And I have to defend the fact that he's number one? And Becky Lynch, by the way, is 3. It's not like Becky Lynch didn't make the list. She's number 3.
In 5 hours of programming, how many matches did they have? So you can't put 252.
252. A month ago, she was 252 on the power rankings.
But you can't look at the whole roster when only a handful of them wrestled on TV.
252. She was at number 252. Now she's going to be number one based on one victory over a non-champion?
You know what the messed up thing is?
Scott wants Becky to jump 251 spaces based on one victory.
You're not seeing the other picture of it, Dave. Sorry. I agree with
There's
you
no other picture. There's one picture, and it's a picture of Elias. That's the one picture. There's no other pictures. The one picture of Elias. And that's it. That's the only picture. One.
Scott, I apologize. I appreciate you I appreciate you calling into the show today. I appreciate you trying to give your opinion and to get a word in. I apologize that my co-host is a grumpy bitch who can't see other people's opinions. That's it.
Yeah, it's Dave being Dave.
Wait a second, Scott. What is the segment called? What is the segment we did at the top of the hour called?
It's your power rankings.
It's my power rankings. It's the LaGreca power rankings, not the Scott from Virginia power rankings, not the Bully Ray power rankings. It's the Dave LaGreca power rankings.
Scott, do me a favor. Just hang up on him already.
You got it, Bully. Thanks.
Okay, just take bull. I've been the host of this show for 9 years and 2 months. And then now everyone's going to listen to Bully. Bully says, hang up the phone. They hang up the phone. It's the LaGreca power rankings.
Just because they're the LaGreca power rankings doesn't mean they are the correct power rankings. You need some help every once in a while. And the past couple of weeks, you've been off. And we've given you very valid reasons. It's not like I just sit here and say, oh, Dave, you're wrong. This is the way it should be. I give you fact. I give you good reasons why your list could be a bit askew. And now we have callers and people on social media saying that they agree with my side because it makes sense, not because it's me. Who gives a damn that it's me? Who cares? You're very sensitive about your power rankings.
Because they're mine. They're my power. My power.
You know
rankings.
What? If
mine.
This is gonna,
mine. Not yours. Not
now
Alex
you sound
Metz,
like Daffy Duck when he found the pearl.
Not Scott from California. Not Kevin from Wyoming. It's Dave LaGreca's power rankings. And let me be honest. I have said this on the air before. Alex Metz a couple of weeks ago reminded me about Seth Rollins. I said, you know what, Alex? You're right. I'm going to change my... It's not like I'm not open to making changes on my power rankings. I'm open to making changes when it's called for. This is not called for. Becky Lynch is on my power rankings. She's number 3. She does not deserve to be number 1. Beating a former champion isn't enough for you to jump 251 spaces to number 1.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more point to prove how wrong you are. Okay, you're saying Elias belongs at 1,
yes,
and Becky belongs at 3.
Yes, I think we confirmed that fact. Yes.
So you're not even going to compromise and say, all right, I'll put Becky at 2.
No.
Now you're completely out of your effing mind. Because if you think Braun Strowman beating Bobby Roode is bigger than Becky tapping out Charlotte, your credibility is destroyed. You should leave the job right now. You should walk away and hand the show over to Alex Metz.
Don't forget the last. By the way, Bully, a little reminder here. Don't forget the last time someone tried to discredit my credibility, what happened to that person. Let me just tell you this, Bully, okay? You have Elias at 3. It's not like you don't have Elias on your power rankings. You have him at... No, I'm sorry. You have him at 2. You have him at 2. You have him at 2.
Yeah, listen, it's not my list.
I have him 1.
It's not my list.
It's not that far. 1 comes 2. 2 comes right after 1.
List.
2 comes right after 1. Right after 1 is the number 2, and you have them at 2. I have them at 1, you have them at 2. It's right after each other. They're right next to one another. How far is it off? It's not far off at all. I have them 1, you have them 2.
This is not even a fun La Greca rant.
Becky Lynch is 3. It's 3. Number 3. When you look at power rankings, you don't go... All right, when you look at top 10 contenders for a title, nobody doesn't jump from 24 to 1. It doesn't happen that way. You have to work your way up. Now, if Becky Lynch has a significant win next week, then guess what? Maybe Becky would be at 1. That's probably not going to happen. She probably won't have another significant win for some time. But she went from obscurity to number 3. I think that's a significant jump, Bully.
Hey, Dan Gilbert on social media, he said, I would think that after 9 years and 2 months, Dave would be better with his power rankings. Becky deserves the higher ranking. But that's just me. So you don't believe that Becky should be able to jump the fake 251 spots, but it's okay to jump 249? Basically what he's telling you is you're absolutely wrong.
Tony checks on Twitter and says if Conor McGregor beat Floyd Mayweather, Dave LaGreca would rank him number 3 on his boxing power rankings.
Oh, come on. But right now, Charlotte's not a champion. Boy, people are killing me. Sammy says, I like your ranking, Dave, but Nia shouldn't be on there at all. Her stuff on Raw was awful. She beats Natalya, and she's your Raw Women's Champion, and Nia Jax shouldn't be on the power rankings? Have people just lost their minds?
Dave, you're not listening. Listen. Let's assume for a second that I was going to agree with you, okay? Here's why your rankings are so effed up and how you're not even willing to compromise. Let's say I agree that Elias should be number 1. You're not even going to turn around and go, all right, you know what, Bully, you make a great point. Becky should be number 2 over Braun. Because if you don't think Becky's win over Charlotte is bigger than Braun's win over Bobby, you're so discredited. But Bully, you're a fraud.
No, Bully, here's why. I'm not going to call you a fraud because you're not a fraud, but maybe you're misinformed. And maybe, let me excuse the word, a little ignorant when it comes to this. Okay, Bully? Because it's not just about the significance of the match. Braun Strowman's consistently been 1, 2, or 3 on my power rankings since we started.
It doesn't matter
Becky
about
Lynch
last week or the
obscurity.
It has to do with this week. It's like this week in baseball. What did they do this week? It's not about this month in baseball or this couple of months. It's this week's power rankings. And this week, Becky Lynch did better, in my opinion, than anybody else. At the very least, what you should be able to do is compromise and say, all right, Bully, listen, I'm sticking by Elias at number 1, but I hear your point. Becky should be number 2 over Braun. Because Braun beating Bobby is no big deal, but Becky tapping out Charlotte, that's a big deal. And if you can't see that point, dude, you're freaking blind, you're stubborn, you're the ignorant one.
Now, we could have the conversation if we want to put NXT, but that's not what it is. It's Raw and SmackDown. Do you hear the bumper that's played? Do you hear the bumper that Chris Hamill played? Chris Hamill, could you do me a favor, Chris Hamill? Could you play the bumper that we use at the beginning of my power rankings for a second?
Raw and SmackDown have come.
All right, now stop it. Stop it right there. Raw and SmackDown. So now all these freaking people that are calling me out because I don't have Johnny Gargano or Ciampa or Sullivan on my power rankings, you just heard it. Raw and SmackDown. There's no mention of NXT. Now people want to change the rules. You see what this world has become? Because one person disagrees with what I have to say, now everything has to be changed. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
I do believe that if everybody on social media today responding to this, our very own Chris Hamill has the greatest tweet I've ever seen.
What did he say?
Well, it's a GIF of you, but it's really Veruca Salt. You have to see it. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. Veruca Salt was the biggest crybaby bitch in the history of crybaby bitches, and today I think you have topped that.
No, it's called defending my honor. It's called defending my opinion.
If you were listen. Do you understand compromise? Maybe
Yes,
this
you
is why you've been divorced twice.
Really? You really want to go there?
Well, no, I'm not taking a shot at you. I'm saying
if you don't bring up my personal life and my divorces.
You've been divorced.
Bring up my hardships on the air and try to defend your opinion. Go ahead.
One of the things that makes marriage successful is compromise. It's obvious you don't know how to compromise because I'll let you have Elias at number 1. I'm going to back down. See, this is the Hall of Famer backing down to you, Dave. But you won't even compromise and put Becky at number 2. And that's where you fail. That's where you're wrong. Because I can understand how in your mind you think the Elias win is bigger than the Becky win. But I cannot figure out how you think the Braun win is bigger than the Becky win. That makes no sense. Therefore, you can't compromise. You can't have an adult conversations about your power rankings because they're your power rankings.
That's right.
And whatever Dave says has to be. So then why have any debate about your power rankings? For now on, when we do your power rankings on a Wednesday, how about you just do your power rankings, everybody just shuts up, and then we move on to the next topic.
You know what? But I'll say this to defend myself. When Alex Metz made a good point a couple weeks ago, I actually changed my power rankings. So I am willing to change my power rankings. I just think you're wrong and I'm right.
I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolates. Give it to me now. I want today.
Back here on Busted Open. Dave
So
LaGreca,
perfect.
Bully Ray.
So perfect. Bravo, Chris Hamill. Bravo, Alex.
Yeah, good job.
Dave Veruca Salt LaGreca. I want it now, Daddy. I want everybody to love my power rankings now, Daddy. I'm Dave LaGreca. I've had the show for 9 years and 2 months, and I want to be right. And if everybody doesn't like it, I'm just going to bitch, moan, complain, yell, and scream until I get my way. Wah! Ugh. See you next Tuesday.